My girl toilet is
Yes,
stained. I have the worst luck of any president. Yeah. See, I've worked on it. Can you tell I've worked on it?
I can tell you're doing a great job, and I'm very proud of you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special relationship which looks at the politics between the UK and the US. So, my very special co host from America is Andrea Bridget Smith, and I am Matt Johnston. I'm attempting to shore things up from the UK. Hello, Andrea. Things okay with you?
Yes, everything is fine and normal over here, just like it always is. No cause for concern. But Matt, I'm actually very worried about you Brits right now because I keep reading bad news. So first of all, it sounds like your economy has officially fallen into a recession, proving that even when a Trussian hand smashes the economic red button, it can take some time for the nuke to fully land. Sorry for the war analogy, but I am an American. We do love our defense spending. So what's going on economy-wise?
Well, this is interesting because according to the Tories, it's only technically a recession.
Okay.
I mean, you can ask me what's the difference between technically and an actual recession. I don't know. So hoping anyway that I can technically afford my technical rent next month before I fall into an absolute and literal depression. Thank you.
Yes. Well, good luck with that. I also heard that there's a situation that is even worse going on. This one has me very worried. A possible tea shortage. I mean, if you run out of tea, does the entire nation just collapse?
Well, panic not. Apparently, at the moment, it's minimal, thank goodness, because I got to tell you, we've got nuclear capability over here, and we will use it against whoever. We might even just have a mass suicide, fire it straight up. I have to show you this. I am down to my last box, which I only just found out the other day. So I've got about 200 tea bags left.
Okay.
Um, maybe enough for the weekend if I'm careful. And beyond that, I've just got to get out there and get some more.
Okay. Okay. Well, good luck. I hope you don't have to, smash any windows or anything to get more tea.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, I do have some advice for you. You're going to think I'm going to say get some out of the harbor, but no. You can replace your tea actually with gin. So your health is definitely going to suffer, but your days are going to get a lot more exciting. And there seems to be one man in North Yorkshire who's already got a head start on that. He actually called the police on himself for drunk driving, which is so proactive. We love a proactive drunk concerned with the welfare of the citizenry. Great job, sir.
Yeah, fantastic. By the way, you mentioning gin. Now, people in the UK may not, well, I imagine actually our listeners, our subscribers, of course, will know all about this. They're very well-read people. But the UK used to have this. It led to something called the gin craze over here, where
Okay.
at one stage, a pint of gin was cheaper than a pint of beer. It was to do with sort of basically, it's if you can imagine your opioid crisis, but set in Victorian times.
Okay.
Anyway, back to this guy in North Yorkshire. I mean, yes, if you call the police and admit that you were drunk driving, then that definitely means that you were too drunk to drive.
Yes. Yes, that is a dead giveaway. But there is some good news happening over there, isn't there? At least if you're not Rishi Sunak.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, the good news being that you're not Rishi Sunak. Still, at least he doesn't get booed everywhere he goes, which seems like that's happening to Trump a lot. Or are these just edited clips? How is the election shaping up over there, Andrea?
Well, over here it's a pretty calm time, actually. Everything's normal, just standard. The former president is selling sneakers now, which that's normal. They all do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than selling secrets, I guess.
Yes. Well, the when the FBI took away all of his precious boxes, that put an end to that. So the reason that he's selling these sneakers, and I believe that you guys actually call them trainers over there, is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, you're going to get a lot of people saying, "Oh, we call them pumps, we call them this, we call them," but essentially, everybody knows what you're talking about when you're talking about trainers over here.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So he's selling these shoes because he suddenly owes a fuck ton of money. In your country, it would be a metric fuck ton. Over here, an imperial fuck ton, similar amounts. But a judge last week ruled that Trump owes $355 million in his fraud case,
Wow.
plus 100 million in interest, plus the $83 million from the E. Jean Carroll case, which puts his legal bills at just north of $500 million. Now, between Trump's campaign and his super PAC and the RNC, he's got about 30 million on hand as of the latest filings from January, which you will notice as someone who loves math as much as you do, that's a little bit less than $500 million, right? Just a smidge. There's also there's a GoFundMe for Trump, which has collected.
Sorry, what was that?
A GoFundMe. Do you know
Okay,
about GoFundMe?
I misheard that. I beg your pardon.
Okay.
I thought you said something else.
Okay. But are you familiar with GoFundMe? Do you have that over there?
Yes, absolutely. They do all sorts of bizarre, weird, and wonderful collections.
Okay, great. We do them over here for medical care, since our government doesn't give a shit whether we live or die. So we have
depressing.
to raise money a lot through GoFundMe. So there's one for Trump now, which has collected, last time I checked, $600,000 to help him out with these legal expenses, which again are north of $500 million. So you have $500,000, a little bit more than $500,000, going to pay off that over $500 million. So math's working out real nice on that. Apparently those people hate having money and they're just eager to get rid of it. So they just want to pour it into the hole that is Trump's legal fees. So then you've got President Biden's reelection campaign, which has 56 million in the bank, so almost twice as much as Trump, and no pending legal judgments that could potentially wipe out large chunks of his net worth. So that's how we ended up at the shoes. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I mean, as much sense as anything else. I think I've said that before. That should be the motto for this show, shouldn't it?
It really
Makes
should.
as much sense as anything else. Sure. I mean, it's getting to the point where he really needs to stop selling them and start making them if he wants to pull back his money, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so genuine question: can you ever see him paying that money back? I mean, like, even if he wanted to, do you think there's ever a point where they're going to see that money?
I mean, he's going to try absolutely everything he can to get out of it. It'll be tied up in appeals for a while. But the problem with that, that's been his strategy for a long time, is every time you get a judgment against you, just keep appealing as long as you can to delay it. The problem with that is that every time you do another appeal, that's more billable hours for your legal team that you keep having to pay. So, you either have to get new lawyers, get more lawyers, pay your existing lawyers more. And I would recommend that he gets better lawyers because the ones he's got sure do seem to keep losing cases for him.
Yeah. Also, what are we talking about with the shoes? I mean, does he wear them out on the rallies? Is that a good way to sell them?
I don't think he would be caught dead in them, honestly. I think if you put those on his feet, that would be one of the top 10 comedy moments of all time.
Wow.
Preceded only by the NFT thing, where he was dressed up in like a sheriff's outfit and doing like a backyard barbecue. I mean, that's
Village people stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. The man doesn't like to get high on his own supply, so I don't think he's going to be wearing these shoes to rallies. The shoes are ghastly. They're gold, shiny. They have this giant T on them for Trump, and they have an American flag worked in, of course. And Matt, speaking of comedy gold, I will pay you a very large sum of money if you get a pair and then film yourself walking around London in them, and just film the reactions. I think that would just be hilarious. So you up for it?
Honestly, yeah, I get it, but honestly, Andrea, I'm more of a black trainers with black soles and black laces and no logo on them kind of guy. Plus, I would probably, even just get beaten up for just wearing these hideous trainers, or beaten up and then robbed, because anyone that wears those definitely has more money than sense.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt, I thought it would be fun to play a game. I will name a politician from the UK, and you tell me what
Right.
kind of shoe you think that they would release if they were releasing some kind of footwear. And then you name a politician from the US, and I'll do the same. Okay? Does that sound good?
Okay.
Okay. So number one, let's start with Liz Truss. Liz Truss is releasing a shoe. What does that
Ooh.
shoe look like?
Of course, it would have a heel that would come off within the month. Um, it would have straps going across it that would just effectively bite into your foot, I'd imagine.
Right.
I'm not very good on shoes. You'll have to forgive me, but I imagine that they would call it the Trust No One or something like that. I don't know.
Wow, that was great. Good job.
Thank you. How about your Speaker of the House then? How about Johnson? Is it Michael Johnson?
Mike Johnson.
Mike
Okay.
Johnson.
Mike Johnson. If Mike Johnson was releasing a shoe, I think it would be a plain brown loafer. No tassels, because tassels are the work of the devil. They're there to tempt you. If you look at tassels on a shoe, you're going to start thinking about sex, and your son's phone is going to start lighting up. We can't have that. So no tassels, no spot to put the penny in, no decoration whatsoever. Just plain brown shoes that don't tempt you, that are not an affront to God. I think that's the shoe that he would be coming out with.
Okay. I have to say, by the way, that's probably the same sort of shoes as somebody like our leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, would come up, because he's known for being quite dull. That would be it.
Okay.
That it wouldn't be anything to do with God. He'd just be quite. And you know what? I keep coming back to this. I'll take dull.
No kidding.
Dull's
right?
fine with me.
Oh, I love a dull politician these days. Just craving one. What about, we'll do one more. My favorite British politician by far, you know him, you love him, Mr. Jacob Rees-Mogg. What's he putting out there in the footwear?
Well, it's got to be the Jacob Jogper, hasn't it, really? It's the man who absolutely loves to go hunting, and sometimes does it on a horse as well.
Okay.
Rather than just with a gun, trying to catch poor people. Yes, I imagine be a jobber, because, of course, did I mention this? But they're in his local area of Somerset. I'm not making any aspersions here, but there was a tall, slender individual who I'm not sure if they got caught, but they were known for dressing up in a gimp suit and chasing people. And I can't help looking at that and go, Jacob, it just like, it kind of fits. It's one of those where you go to his house if you had to, or no, let me put it another. You'd wake up in his house, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Chains around everywhere, and you wouldn't be the least surprised. You'd say something like, "Is it safe?" Bit of marathon man there, yeah. So that's what it'd be, the Jacob Jobber.
Okay,
and you spend all this time polishing it. Make of that what you will.
I'm guessing there would be a fox pelt involved somewhere, right? Gotta get a fox pelt somewhere in there.
My final one, Laurenbert.
Laurenbert. I think that Laurenbert would do a very shiny red patent leather high heel, but the heel comes off and it's a gun. The sole of the shoe is also a gun. And the little buckle on the shoe is also a gun. It's like, how many guns can we get into the shoe, but still make it look pretty and shiny? I think it would be her goal. So that's what I think she would come up with.
Oh, nice. Yes. A gun shoe, basically.
Yes. So instead of a detective, which is a gumshoe, Lauren Boebert's gun shoe. Very deadly.
Excellent. Excellent. I think we tackled that fairly well.
I do want to talk about Melania Trump here for a minute in all of this. So obviously her husband is going through some trials and tribulations. He just compared himself to Alexei Navalny, saying he's very persecuted, which is absolute horseshit. But I want to talk to Melania in all this. I'm sure she is a listener of the show. Melania, I know you don't care about comedy, but you have the chance right now to be the funniest person on the planet. Your husband's net worth is melting like ice cream on a hot summer day right in front of you. If you want your cut of it before it all goes away, you need to divorce him right now and absolutely take him to the cleaners. Nothing would be funnier than if you did that right this minute. You would be a fucking folk hero. They would write songs about you. Come on, girl. Flee that sinking ship while you still can afford to buy Baron a Ferrari.
Here. Absolutely. She's got to be weighing it up, hasn't she? Unless,
Sure.
is she an American citizen?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I don't know that she would want to stay here at this point if, if she were not with him, she might be tired of the place, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And Baron's her son.
Yes, her and Trump's son.
Her Trump's son. Yeah.
And I heard an interesting rumor. If we can spread rumors, and it's a podcast, and I think we can.
Why not? Our legal fees will cover it.
Exactly. We know where to get lawyers, right? I read this article that said that Trump doesn't like to appear next to Barron in public because his son is so much taller than him that it makes him look small and frail next to his own son. He doesn't want to stand next to him. So Eric is slightly taller than him, but it's not as noticeable. But apparently Barron is just a beanpole. And so Trump is like, nah, if we have to appear in public together, put him at the far end away from me because I don't want to stand next to him because he'll make me look short.
I kind of get it because Trump's such a man-child that
Yes.
if they put the two of them together, they would just look like Beavis and Butthead, wouldn't they? Really?
Right.
It would just
right.
look,
Yes.
Trump does that sort of like thing, doesn't he? Just
very weird
like that.
stance.
It would just look more odd than normal, I suppose.
Yeah.
So anyway, on last week's show, I think it was, we talked about Trump deciding not to be there basically for any NATO partners who are behind on their payments. Basically, he was going to tell whoever's attacking them, more than likely Russia, that they could do whatever the hell they want. Now, that's not good news because, as you know, Vladov is on the march in Ukraine. Yes, us Europeans and our ruthless dictators, eh? Anyway, Lord Cameron, the unelected, was over in the US the other week trying to drum up support to help Ukraine. And the Republicans weren't too keen on doing this.
Right.
For reasons which we probably covered already. Anyway, Cameron said that those that didn't support sending aid to Ukraine were like Nazi sympathizers. Whereupon the Nazi sympathizers said, hey, how come we always get the bad rap here? Anyway, when asked about this comment, Marjorie Taylor Greene said that Cameron should focus on the UK as we have our own problems, which is true, but it's not really the job of a foreign secretary, is it? Really, let's be honest.
Right.
It's not really like that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Clues in the name. Anyway, she then said that he can kiss her ass or kiss her ass. What do you say? Kiss her ass? Kiss her ass.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass. Yeah. I have to say, I love that. I mean, sorry, but that's just such a wonderfully American response. Kiss my ass. I mean, you try saying that. I can't do it in a British accent. It just sounds crap. It just sounds, you know what? You can kiss my ass. Yeah, very good. They did actually meet at some sort of function afterwards, and Cameron was asked about it and said that they didn't get anatomical, which then has to be the most British response. Yes, my ass. No need to get anatomical.
Right.
But then that got me thinking about our respective countries, which I appreciate is the point of these videos. So your politicians are busy filming themselves doing, sit-ups and burpees and blowing shit up from the back of a pickup truck. Well, we've sent our politicians to the finest schools on the planet. And the end result is that you guys are seeing your economy thrive while ours is in the toilet. Make it make sense, Andrea.
Well, I've long since stopped trying to make any of this make sense. It's much better to make jokes about it instead. I think that's
True.
truly the one thing that's keeping my head from exploding. I will say, though, in comparing our countries, that you've got a conservative prime minister and a conservative-led government, although I understand that you're chipping away at that in by-elections.
Yes, we are.
And we have a center-left president and Senate. And the conservative House has a very narrow margin and it's incapable of doing much of anything. So maybe that's why our economy is doing a little bit better than yours. It's almost as if the center and the left are better at governing than the far right. I don't know.
Yeah. Now it makes sense. Oh, by the way, Andrea, are you familiar with the latest about Tucker Carlson and Boris Johnson and Vladimir Putin, all that sort of thing?
Oh, no, I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, so Tucker Carlson, as you know, the other week did an interview with where he basically sucked up to Vladimir Putin. Great job,
Right.
Tucker.
Mhm.
And he's now had an interview with another. I didn't recognize the American presenter he was talking to, but basically, Johnson's been having a. It's weird to say this, but Johnson's been having a bit of a go at him, calling him Putin's useful idiot.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not what Johnson is. Johnson's never been useful in his life.
Right.
But Tucker Carlson said, okay, I've interviewed Putin. I'll interview you. And Johnson apparently asked for $1 million in order to get the interview, which I can definitely, absolutely believe because he does everything for money. I mean, why not? But apparently Tucker Carlson said, well, he was said, I don't think he actually said I haven't got it, but he definitely said, I'm not going to pay that. But it is rather interesting, isn't it? Because, of course, Trump is still very much in the background, shall we say, and he's always been a bit of a Putin buddy, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But the approach over here in Europe has been very, as you can imagine, very anti-Putin.
Right.
Mm.
You know what I think is interesting about this? First of all, that would be a very interesting interview. I'm wondering if Tucker Carlson would fawn over Boris Johnson the way that he did over Vladimir Putin. The nice thing about Boris Johnson is, a man with a lot of faults. I think we can both agree, yes?
Yeah, yeah.
But probably wouldn't poison you or shove you out of a window if you said something that he didn't like.
Can we just put a bit of a star by the probably?
Probably,
Because
sure.
he did threaten to have a journalist beaten up while he was still mayor of London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there was talk about that. He's married to Carrie, third marriage, I think. Yeah, third marriage and seventh kid or eighth kid or whatever they've got. And there was talk of the fact that he and her had a bit of a falling out. But yeah, as far as hurting people, I don't think he's got an issue with. Killing them, I think he would at least ask for money. That's all.
So a fine, upstanding citizen compared to Vladimir Putin, basically.
Exactly. I mean, with Putin, it's more of a hobby. You got to keep sort of yourself fresh, that sort of thing.
Well, you know what they say: do what you love, and it won't feel like work the rest of your life. And he's obviously found something that he loves, which is murdering dissidents. Of course, Alexei Navalny, the latest victim, of Putin's regime, and that was a very sad thing, and it's kind of stirred up a lot of things over here, and I would imagine over there as well.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, of course, had to make it all about him, and he's now saying that he's Alexei Navalny and he's being persecuted just like Navalny was, and he's this brave freedom fighter, and it's like, you have not spent any time in prison, especially not a Siberian prison yet.
Yeah.
Oh, fingers crossed. I'd love to send him to a Siberian prison. I wish we could send him to a Siberian
Gulag.
prison, but
Yes.
I don't like. if a Russian dissident, was in jail and mysteriously died suddenly, and you are out on the campaign trail hawking gold shoes,
Mm,
and selling, tickets to $1,000 a plate dinners at your fancy golden crusted club, I don't think those are the same thing, right?
no, no, one's a little bit worse than the other, just a little bit.
Just a little bit
Yeah,
worse. Just a little
yeah.
bit worse.
When you got to pee in a bucket that's full to the brim with pee, then you come back, at least have a conversation about it. But yeah,
Right,
you got to pee in a
right.
gold toilet, then, my gold toilet is
Yes.
stained. I have the worst luck of any president. Yeah. That's it. I've worked on it. Can you tell? I've worked on it.
I can tell you're doing a great job, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And on that note, we are going to wrap things up for today. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and watching out there. And Matt, of course, thanks to you for being here.
Thank you.
For more from us in between episodes, head on over to @TheInterestingTimes UK to catch up on British politics. And we'll be here at Phoenix News Network on Friday with a fresh new episode of our weekly news report. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.